stinging nettle leaf, major energizer. Now, one of the reasons for that is because just like oat straw, stinging nettle is also very, very mineral rich. Some of them, in terms of the minerals, iron is a major one. Calcium, also magnesium, silica, potassium, manganese, zinc, copper, chromium, vitamin K, and when it comes to vitamins in particular, it's got some B vitamins as well. So there's a whole lot. That's not everything, but that's just a short list of some of what you will get when you drink stinging nettle leaf tea. And I do want to say here again, to be clear, that I'm talking strictly about the leaf because the roots of stinging nettle is also used medicinally, is also used in herbalism, but that is a completely different can of worms. And here I'm just talking about the leaves. Let's talk about what herbalists generally have to say about this. So one of the things that you will often hear mentioned when it comes to stinging nettle is that it is a spring tonic. And really what that means is, the idea is that it's typically an herb that's used really this time of year, because right now I'm recording this, it's April, right? So you would use this tea in particular in April as you're moving out of winter and into springtime and summer. It helps to sort of restore the body after the hibernation of winter, and because with that hibernation there can maybe be even some level of depletion in the body. So you want to revive everything because it's springtime, right? And everything's blooming, everything's blossoming. So we kind of want to do the same thing to your body. You want to give it some more life, and that is what stinging nettle can often do for us. So that's sort of that spring tonic aspect. Also, some herbalists refer to it as a cleansing and nourishing herb, again, used to strengthen and support different parts of the body. It's also often referenced as a women's tonic, okay? And it's typically, in that scenario, is used in combination with oat straw as well as with red raspberry leaf. So those three, right? Nettle leaf, oat straw, red raspberry leaf. Typically, you will see them in formulations together because they do a lot, and there's a nice sort of, just collaboration and synergy between those herbs that can be very beneficial for the female body, for supporting hormones, for supporting menstrual cycle, and all of that. Also, some people refer to it as a blood tonic. It can also be helpful when it comes to things like arthritis. So I had seen a report years ago about, I can't remember what country, I want to say it was maybe somewhere in the United Kingdom, but I could be completely off. But anyways, there are some cultures that actually will use stinging nettle topically, because this herb does sting if you were to touch it fresh with no gloves on or anything, right? So, but that stinging property that it has is also ironically medicinal. So I did see that there are some cultures where they actually will intentionally apply it, over joints and parts of the body that are arthritic, because interestingly, that actually helps to relieve some of the discomfort of the arthritis. So just a very interesting aspect of what this herb can do for us. There's so many different applications, and even that sting effect is also a reminder that even something like that is painful on the one hand, right, where the common rule is don't touch this plant fresh because it'll sting you. But at the same time, it's funny how that stinging effect also has some therapeutic benefits to it if we know when and how to take advantage of it. So, but not encouraging you to just go out there and do that, but just letting you know that that is something that's done. When it comes to women's health, again, it's often used for like heavy periods. So it's helped to not only help alleviate the blood loss, but also to help restore our energy, and certainly help with supporting iron levels, because when you have heavy periods and you're losing a lot of blood, then you're also losing a lot of iron. And like I said, stinging nettle leaf is very rich in iron, so often used for that. And then lastly, is often used during allergy season. So again, this time of year, springtime, A lot of people sometimes get benefit from drinking stinging nettle leaf tea when it comes to their allergies. So that's kind of an overview as far as just what herbalists traditionally have to say about it. Now, a few quick notes again when it comes to what this herb can do for us ladies. And I mentioned this in one of my other videos on nettle, so I'll link to that video. But really quickly, the vitamin K. So it's got vitamin K. Vitamin K becomes helpful when it comes for blood clotting as well as for anticoagulation. So making sure that the blood, is the right consistency, right? You don't want blood to be too thick because clotting creates other problems, but too thin, you have other problems. Vitamin K helps with that. And there is a paper I had read that said sometimes when we have issues related to menstrual cycle, sometimes it's really just a vitamin K problem. So that might be one reason why stinging nettle is beneficial for some women when they are having excessive blood loss. The other thing is when it comes to hot flashes, there was a study done in 2019, and it was a small study. It was just 72 women, but in that study, they worked with women who were experiencing frequent hot flashes and found that those who took nettle actually saw a meaningful reduction in their hot flashes, and those women also reported overall improvement of quality of life. So just something interesting. And lastly, when it comes to hormonal shifts, I thought this was very interesting. So there was a 2022 scientific review, and in that review, they basically just looked at different studies and papers around nettle, and their conclusion I thought was very interesting. So their conclusion verbatim was stinging nettle can ease the transition and act as a restorative for women going through menopause, lowering the intensity of the hormonal shift in the body. So that was just a statement that I came across in that particular paper that I just thought was very interesting. Nice summary and another reminder of why we can all benefit from having this herb in our day-to-day routine. Now, how do I use nettle? I use nettle in the same way that I use oat straw. So I also will only make it as an infusion. So I will take my quartz jar, I will get 1 ounce max by weight of stinging nettle leaf. I'll put that in the jar. I'll fill the jar with boiling water, let that sit on the kitchen counter for overnight, strain it, drink it either within 24 hours or 48 hours. And again, I'm doing that because my main purpose is I'm trying to get the minerals out of that leaf, and a long extraction period is necessary to really pull as much of those nutrients out of it. So